Hello viewers, I've actually grabbed another B.A.Z. This one's a slightly newer. I think this would be a 1949 era, this B.A.Z. 10 to 40 amps, 400 revs per kilowatt hour, single phase, 2 wire, 50 cycles, 240 volts. It's a bit dusty just with got the Queensland weather on it, so it's going to have to be a lot of restoration work to be done to this one. You can see the that's a 4-digit, this is a 5-digit. You can see the fonts are slightly different, so this is a second variation of these types of B.A.Zs. I think the ones after this one, they went to this shape. They used this shape fascia on them, and they were the 60 amp ones which phased in straight after these did. And they use the same chassis that these use, with the integrated brake magnets. So these B.A.Zs are the last of this type with the external brake magnets. So judging by the faceplate, the nameplate, it'll be from 1949, 1950 at most, or at the latest. So yeah, this is one of the last of the 40 amp ones, before they phased the 60 amp ones in, which were from the 50s. Then they went to the 50s and 60s. In the 70s, they phased in the 80 amp ones, like these ones here. Then after that, the early 80s onwards, 100 amps phased in. So you can tell how many amps they are, what era they're from. That's a 10 to 40, this is a 5 to 20. So this is definitely the next model that phased in after these older ones. Well, let's give it a bit of a scrub, give it a bit of a clean. Before I do that, they want to wire it up and give it a test. I know it will be accurate. So it's never ever been a part either. There's no recertification label on this. It's just got the H. So this should be accurate. The good thing about it, because it hasn't been never ever been opened up. They're still the original seals. So when these are recalibrated, and that one here was as well, they tended to warp the load wheels a bit when they were calibrating them. They completely stripped them and lubricated everything, and when they put it back together, they slightly warped the load wheel, and yeah, that can cause like creep in parts of the loads. The wheel would stop in certain parts. Like with this one, the wheel stops about there on a very, very light load. But on the other ones, like my new B.A.Z I got in my room, that thing doesn't stop anywhere, it just keeps going. So this and this should be the same. Alright, let's give it a test. It's got the wires that carry through under there. But these ones, with the good terminal covers, the wires came through the back like that, through the back of the meter board. For some reason, not on the Queensland ones, they went through the terminal covers. Same with this in here as well. They've cut the bottom out to get the wires to go through. Alright, let's wire it up. Okay, viewers, got a head start there. A head start there on that little 1/10 dial. Alright, time to switch power on, and they should advance exactly the same. 3, 2, 1. Alright, both B.A.Zs are going. Alright, at that advance 1/10 of a kilowatt hour, and this one here should advance exactly the same, and if it does, it's accurate. You can look carefully, it's a very, 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 very slight warp. You can barely notice it, it's just the tiniest, tiniest little warp. And that's enough to cause certain places of the disc that they'll stop in certain points on very light loads. Obviously going half the speed, being a 400 rev per kilowatt hour, but it's still going to advance the same. Yep, so far so good, neck and neck, good. Well, I could make up a phantom loading setup for this and save me some electricity, but I've got to make a proper bloody setup using this transformer to phantom load 2 meters at once, and that'll be a cheaper, energy efficient way of doing accuracy tests. Yep, exactly the same rate as this one is advancing. Beautiful. If I look closely, you can see this thing's got some sun. Had better sun exposure, but hasn't done much damage. There's nothing much the weather can do on these. They're pretty indestructible. So it's, let's see, it's 35,660 kilowatt hours we're approaching. Yep, so far so good. You can see a little bit of corrosion in the load wheel there. It's a pretty well sealed instruments, and the tiniest bit of moisture still got in. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. That's the only thing in this meter that's mostly tarnished is a load wheel. The rest is all pretty pristine. Bit of fingerprints in there. You can see there's a bit of fingerprint smearing in the inside of the glass there on that nameplate. So whoever put this meter together and installed it probably had dirty hands. You can see there. Yep. And they will advance a tiny bit more because it's also measuring what's in the potential coil of this one. Power off. Yep, spot on. That one is spot on. It's a very tiniest bit more advanced, but that's because it's measuring what's in the potential coil of this. So you allow for that. So this meter's accurate. Never been recalibrated. There you go, we've got an accurate meter. Alright, it's time to do a cosmetic resto on it. Okay, viewers, I did the terminal cover. I just took the bolt out and stuck this under the sink and scrubbed it with a dish scourer. And it came up quite well. It's definitely been sun baked. You can smell the bake a lot and look at the texture of it. Yep, sunny Queensland. Yeah, casing in the meter's a bit more difficult. There's that, you know, like gunk I got off it. And that was off the top of the meter. It's just would have been in an open switchboard, so probably one of those how do I describe it? It had like a recess like this in the house, about that far away from the wall, with some just a little plaque frame around it, and it had some black mica backing board. Had the meter and some federal fuses. This was back in the 50s, late 40s, so they would have had one meter like this, one there, and as I upgraded over the years, I probably put another meter somewhere next to it, because this one here was the yeah, judging by how dirty it is, it would have been out in the open, under a veranda or something. So it's before, just before the traditional meter box era. The meter boxes came about. Do some scrubbing on this one. It'll all come up alright. Okay, viewers, this came up quite well. What I did, I had to use a scourer. This is a fine metal steel wool scourer. Just carefully scrubbed all the paint off. It's actually smoothed off the Bakelite. And it actually smells fresh Bakelite. It actually came up quite well. It's not quite as black as this one because it's been faded by the sun a bit, but that's cleaned up quite well. Looks a lot better than it did before. Let's put the terminal cover back on. The hairspray trick of that Wayne Boombox Deluxe came up with. It worked on his meter okay, but probably because this meter was outside, the paint might have got baked on with the sunlight and the UV penetrated it, helped penetrate it into the Bakelite, and this just wasn't working. So this thing, a lot of dirt came off this. Just came up quite well. Some stubborn marks. I don't want to damage it by scrubbing too hard. I don't want to wreck the Bakelite, so it's as good as it's going to get. It's nearly 40 degrees in here and the fan's blowing. Okay, viewers, that's all come up quite well. Alright, that'll be enough for now. I'm going to sit inside on the air conditioner. Thanks for watching.